All right, we're there. We're up. We're happening. Hey everybody! Welcome to Used to Have a Problem, episode 201. It's the Big Dog's last show. Hey, Big Dog. Hey, Big Dog. Hey, quit licking yourself. Come here. Come on. Say hi to everybody. Come on. That's all you're gonna do. All right. I can get him to stand up. We'll get him to stand up. I have to stand up too. All right, come on, Big Dog. Come on, show him how big you are. Oh, you're gonna show him how big you are, monkey? Big Dog, come on. Come on, Big Dog. There we go. There's that Big Dog. There's that Big Dog. Oh, is he this way to the camera? Oh, there you are. Hey, say hi to everybody. Yeah. Last day, and then you gotta go tomorrow. I know, so awful, so terrible. Now you're just hugging me. He's just hugging me, and I gotta get closer to my desk. There we go. All right. Yeah, that was fun 6 months, wasn't it? You escaping several times to go eat other people's dogs. You eating one person's dog and then costing a lot of money. Yeah. You shitting in the house for like the first month you were here until you figured out they shouldn't do that anymore. That was awful. Those things were huge. There were so many of them. But, you know, all good things gotta come to the end, Snoopy. Time to go back to the family. That's right. I know you love it here. And we sometimes tolerate having you around. But, yes. Right, monkey? Come on, monkey. Come on, monkey. It's going to be your show from this point forward. You're going to have to carry the entire weight of this thing. Okay. So, Bella's up here again, because, Steve, you got to send me what you want me to put up here, and I can put it up here. We'll have another puppy dog up on Monday. Remember, $50. I'll put whatever you want up here for a show. As long as it doesn't get me kicked off YouTube. You want to advertise, you want to do whatever. It's there for you. We got Bella again because Steve, he paid, but he hasn't sent me what he wants to put up here yet. So, come on, Steve. Give me what you want. Is there anything big to talk about? ABCT still going up a bit. The DOJ, SEC are gonna try and crack down on these small and mid-cap stocks that are launching out of China and Hong Kong. They don't want another HKD happening, so they keep these IPOs keep postponing. So the LICN IPO, which was scheduled again for this Friday, is now next Friday. So we'll see if they can do anything, because these are Chinese stocks, man. Like, what are you gonna do? Arrest China? It's not gonna happen. What else we got, Monkey and Big Dog? What else we got? We've got. There was a little pop in the last hour for some of the meme stocks. They just kind of. I didn't look actually at the after hours, see what they were doing. But yeah, there was a little pop right there in the last hour, and then kind of leveled out. Yeah, AMC, GME both did it like around noon. B Big had a pop. Yeah, but most of the market's red because the economy's trying to collapse. The SPY is below 370 now. For as much as the SPY is dropping, the inverse VIX related ETFs are not rising like you'd expect them to. The VIX did have a pop on Wednesday, but they tampered that down by halting trading and then doing whatever shenanigans it is they do to keep that from working. I don't know. But yeah, Be Big, Colucci out, rocket ship. That's the guy that did the lawsuit, right? That's Colucci. I don't remember my names. That's what Spartan says here. So that's why Be Big had a little jump above $1 today. What else did I have to talk about, Monkey? Duh. Oh, yeah, the British pound is collapsing, along with British bonds. The yen is collapsing, along with Japanese bonds. Citadel has done another $600 million bond offering. Another one. So they are collapsing. Yeah, the market seems to be ready to go. Credit Suisse is now a penny stock. I think they dropped to $3, somewhere around there. They're doomed. They posted another $1.6 billion loss. And that's on top of the unrealized losses from everything they still have from Archegos. So a lot of the central banks are starting to post losses. We've had the Swiss central bank post a bunch of losses recently. The Australian central bank is posting losses. A lot of these central banks that don't have a global currency like the dollar are going to be facing some really hard times because they can't just print like the dollar can. So, so the US dollar is actually stronger now than it has been in 40 something years as a result. So things are weird. Things are very weird right now. What's also weird is this. Yeah, making fun of you. Yeah, making fun of you. Okay. Off. 6 shows in a row. After Dark's off, regular's off, we have tied the record. 6 shows, no double intro. Ha! Monday will be 7. We'll set a new record. Hall of Fame style. Okay, might as well jump into the chat. Friday evening chat. What do you guys got for me? What weirdness are we going to bring to all of you? Oh, I forgot to pull up I know I'm going to have to go to Chrome at some point. I forgot to pull that up. Okay. Magus Creed. Hey, Houston, congrats on 200 plus shows. With the financial calamities finally starting to make themselves apparent, are you feeling more dread, anxious about what's to follow? I'll miss Snoopy. I don't know if it's anxiousness and dread, because, I mean, in my 41 years, how many recessions have I lived through now? The bad one for my family was like the recession of the early 90s. That was the one that really clobbered my family. In the 80s, my dad had to look for work in Japan as an architect because there was no one was building anything here because everything was collapsing. And he worked in Japan for a while, and then the Japanese economy started going under, and he had to go to Canada. And then finally was able to find a government job with the Navy back home, and our family didn't have stability until sometime in the mid-90s when he got that job working for the Navy. So, like, going through the couch cushions for bus fare is kind of what we grew up on. So, like, shit gets bad. It's like, well, it kind of is comforting. that's home. So I don't have so much anxiousness. What I'm more fascinated with is how is this going to play out? Because the unraveling is different than the past. And my roommate and I were talking about this. He asked me, like, what are the indicators that we've reached bottom? Well, a lot of the things that would be traditional indicators aren't going to come into play. So, like, the economy crashes. One of the things they do is they slash interest rates to try and spur investment and growth and get capital moving, right? You slash interest rates, make borrowing easier, money gets out there, economy rebounds. Well, they're trying to stop inflation, and to stop inflation, they're jacking interest rates like crazy. They already said, like, hey, the economy's going to crash and we're not going to cut interest rates. So it's going to be like the early 80s when it's basically home prices are going to have to come way down. If you bought a house for $600,000 in December 2021, your mortgage is the same price as someone who buys a house for like, what, $390? So, because interest rates are so high right now, which people aren't going to buy houses. If you bought your house for $600,000 2 years ago, you will not be able to sell it for $600,000 now. So housing prices are going to come down because no one can afford it. They just can't. The prices are way too high. Oil normally drops really, really badly when the economy like craps itself. So, March 2020 when COVID hit and the market just fell off a cliff, oil prices got cheap. Why? Because people aren't driving and traveling and shipping stuff, and demand dematerialized. And then in 2009, again, March 2009, oil prices were so low, gas was like $1.25 a gallon. And this time around, though, energy concerns are a huge part of why the economy is going to be crashing. And it's going to be in the wintertime. It's going to be when Europe needs fuel to stay warm and has a hard time doing it. I don't think oil prices are necessarily going to come down in the same way they normally do. They may come down a little bit, but then it's going to probably bounce right back again. Oh, sorry. Dad's calling me here. Let me send him a message. Make me sign in. Doing my show. But I do think there'll be a couple of indicators that will come about, which is you'll see people flee the market, possibly go into bonds because they're high interest rates right now. Though maybe not corporate bonds, because I think a lot of those are going to get downgraded and get really, really cheap. You'll probably see precious metals spike. Gold will probably go up and stay up. Platinum right now is about to spike because there's a major shortage of platinum, but I don't know how long that will last, because when the economy takes a dump, people stop building cars. Platinum drops. So, because they aren't making catalytic converters. Yeah. I was talking with Iggy. He's in the chat today. He was mentioning foreclosures in Los Angeles County have like spiked on multi-million-dollar homes, and that they've like been foreclosed, gone to auction, not sold, been given back to the banks. The banks sell it to another bank, and they're just bouncing around, sitting empty. And so we're starting to see a glut in the market for high-end real estate, which is what happened in 08, 09. We had a big mortgage firm here, Carolyn Frame Mortgages, I think is what the name of the company. And they specialized in like jumbo loans for multi-million-dollar houses. And they went tits up. And they were a huge part of the luxury market. And all of a sudden, you start to see like $1 million houses up for auction, selling for pennies on the dollar. And that might be coming. Big dog, don't you put your head in that keyboard. Don't you put your head in that keyboard. There we go. Okay. Guitar stuff 201. Is the market crashing? Yep. I don't think it's in free fall yet, but it's definitely... The smart ones are getting out right now. Blah, blah, blah. Houston quit my job last month, and I was hoping for one last pump by the plunge protection team before making the withdrawal. Need to pull it rather than roll it over because life. Did I miss the boat? Possibly. I don't see too many green days in the SPY's future right now. I was calling for... Last week I was saying maybe 8 weeks at the most before the bottom falls out, but I think it might be sooner than that. I know the U.S. government's going to try and hold it back until after the midterms, but I think there's things in motion now that are so international that I don't know if the government can do it. It might happen before then. That snowball, I think, has started rolling. It's collecting mass. It's heading downhill. It's gaining speed, and we're going to see it going. It's okay. Big Dog will leave reminders for years to come. I know. You are everywhere. I bought a new vacuum cleaner because he's destroyed my vacuum. It arrived today. So this new vacuum cleaner is actually sitting on the porch right now. It is a dog hair specific vacuum cleaner, and we're going to see if it works because the house is just drifts of fur. It's like last spring was awful, and now he's like shedding again. I don't know if he's getting rid of a summer coat to make a winter coat or something, but the amount of hair that I brush off this dog and it's just everywhere. The backyard is like half grass, half this dog's fur that I've been brushing off of him, and it never ends. I could brush him and brush him and brush him, and an hour later, just as much fur is coming off of him as the first time I brushed. It's nuts. I don't know how it's physically possible. How is it possible, you freak? You freak of nature. Yeah. true. It seems like everyone is talking about how the market is going to crash all of a sudden. Seems kind of early for them to be saying this, considering midterms. Yep. This is the everyone getting ready. They all know it's coming now. They've been ignoring it all summer. Now they know for sure, like, yep, it's coming. It's going to crash and we're toast. And now they're preparing the public for it's going to crash and be bad. Andrew Stewart, Houston should have some shirts headed your way in a week or so. Yes. All right, this one's silky. This is a silk shirt. It's so smooth. It's so smooth, and your dogs and your claws try to claw it up. Sad Boy Incorporated, Houston, thoughts on Big Dog and your time with him. Also thoughts on how happy Monkey Butt will be in several days. Monkey Butt, I think Monkey Butt likes having him around, but also likes not having him around. Like right now, she's left the room. She's like, I'm going to go sleep in the bedroom without that dog right now. Big Dog, I think he's improved since he's been with me. He's gained weight. He was kind of skinny when he first came over. He's eaten better. I think his fur's healthier. I think a large part of what he needs is basically like constant human contact all day. He needs to like be able to put his head in someone's lap 12 hours a day minimum. And I think he also he sleeps like he has like a room he sleeps in, and I think he needs like to sleep with a human. He's like just be in the room with a human being, and that eases a lot of the anxiety that he has. The big problem and what cannot be fixed is his incessant need to murder every dog he witnesses. Like he's like, I'm going to kill that thing. And if that dog can't put up a fight, he will kill it and not make it its friend. But if it can kick his ass, he's like, oh, I guess we're friends now. And that's what he did. That's what happened with Monkey, is that he tried to kill Monkey, and Monkey just beat the hell out of him like 3 times. And he's like, oh, guess I'm your bitch. And that's how it worked, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's what you need. That's what you need. He also needs, I think, a bark collar. Because my sister's house has these like giant bay windows that look out over a fairly busy street, and anything goes by, it's like bark, and I think that drives off the wall. So he needs something like squirting citronella on his eyeballs or something every time he makes a noise. Space Monkey, can't stay up longer. Happy birthday. Have a good show. Try to watch it later. Peace. Get better, Space Monkey. I'm not feeling too well, so chin up and get better. Well, thank you. Ooh, sad boy. Vanilla Gorilla Houston, do you have any tattoos? I have 0 tattoos. I can only think of 2 reasons I would get a tattoo. 1, if for some reason in my advanced years I ended up as an Olympic athlete, I would get like the Olympic rings tattooed on me somewhere. Since that's not going to happen, I won't be getting that tattoo. And then the only other tattoo I would get is if I found a retirement stone. Like on my travels, I found a rock that meant I could retire. I would get a gold pan with a pickaxe and a shovel, kind of Jolly Roger style. That's the only other tattoo I could think of that I would get. That'd be the signal of, I don't do anything you say. I found a big rock. And so those are my tattoos that I would get. I don't have any, but, you know. Chad Clifford, Houston. I read that as an object grows closer to the speed of light, it would also gain mass. How do we know this to be true? Happy birthday, and thanks for learning. E equals MC squared. It's a very weird phenomena, but yes, you gain mass the faster you go until you get to the speed of light, and then you lose all mass entirely, become pure energy. That's the E. You just become photons. We can calculate the fact that the larger you get, the more thrust you need, and so the faster you get, the more thrust you're going to need to accelerate further as a result of that increased mass, which is one of those also theoretical limits that essentially mass approaches infinity as you get close to the speed of light to c, and that there's no way to accelerate beyond that. And so you need an infinite amount of energy to get in there, which is one of the reasons why it becomes an infinite amount of energy that you become as a photon. It's a It's a mindfuck. That's what it is. Okay. 81 Carsto, I watched the Boss Blunts at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when I'm getting off. It's 9:30 p.m. So I'll get off just as Boss Blunts begins. Reportedly stupid, Houston. What's up with LICN? Wasn't it supposed to IPO today? I never saw it. I never saw news about it. Even checked the second page of Google results. It got postponed yesterday. They postponed it to next Friday, which is good. I opened an account specifically to get a piece of it to see if I can, and the money won't clear until next Thursday. So it'd be nice to be able to get a part of that rather than just throwing money into a brokerage that I won't be able to use. Oops. Hoshi Gaming, got any cool snake stories? Not particularly. We just have like garter snakes and maybe some rat snakes here in the Northwest, or Washington, Pacific Northwest. Go to the other side of the mountains, there's rattlesnakes and things. Monkey Butt tried to get murdered by a baby rattlesnake once in California. She saw it and chased after it, and I barely pulled her back from it, biting her right in the face. Because if you don't want to get bit by a baby rattlesnake, they have like no control over the venom, and they'll just kill you. So Monkey Butt was very dumb, but we managed to get her out of the way of that. Yeah, I don't really have snake stories. I'm sure if I were in Australia, I'd have some. So any of you Aussies in here? Do you have any good snake stories for me? I was terrified of habu when I was a little kid in Okinawa. I don't know if you know what habu is. It's an endemic, super poisonous, like necrotoxin snake in Okinawa. And they named the SR-71 the habu because it's kind of shaped like the head of the habu. I have a keychain with some habu teeth in it somewhere. But it bites you and it starts breaking apart all your cell walls. So eventually it just liquefies you and you die. They are absolutely terrifying. The only one I saw was at the zoo, plus one I saw that was run over by a car in Okinawa. So that was the closest I ever got to like a specimen, was a run over habu. But those are scary snakes. You don't want to get bit by one of those things. Fried tater from Wahoo. Fried tater explosion aloha from Wahoo. For No Labs, I've been looking into it a bit. The options chain won't open for a couple of months after the IPO. Is that how it works? It usually takes a while for market makers and options houses to collect enough to be able to start writing options, or at least covered calls and puts. So, yeah, it's going to take a little bit. Michael O'Hara, Houston Big got some positive settlement news. The CEO, John Colucci, is out. He was doing bad things. The new CEO's name, Big, ran a bit after hours. Yeah. Maybe I'll get some of that back, because still down like 85% on Big from when I bought it last year. Jerry Diamond, everybody see the YouTube video by Red Pill Bill showing and reading filings of Adam Aaron helping Mudrick to short ape. Crazy video. I have not seen that yet. If there's a link, send it to me. Meow meow. Do you see a theory that Amelia Earhart landed on an island and was ripped apart and eaten by coconut crabs? There's evidence. Didn't they find her plane? Like in Tonga or Tuvalu or somewhere around there? But being ripped apart by coconut crabs would suck. I would assume that you would be able to physically fight them off if you're being ripped apart by them. But no, that'd be a pretty terrible way to go. Vanilla Gorilla, I believe particles from the sun contribute to the mass of the planet, thus increasing the circumference of the Earth, correct? This is why we gotta dig to go back in time, yes? I mean, there are particles that come from the sun that hit our atmosphere and eventually drift down to the Earth. There's also tons of dust. We collect about 2 tons of dust every single day. Or 2,000 tons of dust. It's a lot, whatever it is. Collects in our atmosphere every single day and then rains down. But also, we're gross. right? We shed skin and boogers, and plants die, leaves fall, and things fall down. It doesn't take that long to cover the soil with more soil. So you got to dig down from there. Evidenced by, there'll be someone trying to dig an irrigation canal in Italy, and they'll uncover like lost fresco floors or something. And so they're like, oh crap, so you got a whole excavation site happening in a vineyard, because there used to be a mansion there 2,500 years ago, and enough dirt has piled on top, people just went, and tilled the soil and planted some grapes and went from there. It can happen pretty quick. I have a concrete block patio that I built a few years ago. It was just such a pain in the ass, and I was an idiot, and I forgot to put down my weed cover. I just didn't buy a weed cover. It totally escaped my mind, and friggin' things pop up between the cracks of the blocks. And my God, is that grass popping through those blocks, desperately trying to make a whole new layer of soil on top of my very expensive concrete blocks that I laid down. And it was such a brutal task that destroyed my body in ways I never thought possible, that the idea of taking up all those blocks and putting down a weed cloth and putting them all back down again is a horror story to me. I'll just try to weed whack what I can and just shrug my shoulders at the rest, because, oh my God, was that thing such a pain in the ass to build. Whoa. Bithead occupier of VWAP Pontiff. Hey mate, hope you're doing well. Needs money for you to buy me beer next time you come to Australia. Oh, thank you. I do need to come to Australia. I've never been south of the equator, and I want to. You'll give me snake stories, Bithead, when I get there. When can I get to Australia, monkey? I don't think you'll be able to come. There's probably too long of a quarantine to get you to Australia. I know. I'm sorry. Two of my little sisters lived in Australia for extended periods of time. One lived in Cronulla and worked in a chicken shop and was constantly getting asked by like professional cricket players to marry her, and for some reason she never said yes. And then the other one was living in Bondi Beach, and she was working for Atlassian. I listen to NPR, and they advertise Atlassian, and like, Atlassian, makers of Clomdop, Flimdop, Flumdorp, and Souptorpy. I'm like, I don't know what you guys do. But yeah, she was there until COVID, and then she was like, I need to be home because our parents are really old. So she moved back. No, I think she's back with Atlassian again. So, post-COVID, they wanted her back. I never got a chance to visit, which is a bummer. Bithead, there aren't many snakes. Spiders killed them all. Oh, well, there you go. We don't really have bad spiders here either. We got sack spiders, which these guys will like live in the corners of your house, and they apparently have really nasty poison, but they've evolved so that their teeth can't puncture human skin very easily, because their evolution was that they coexist with humans. They like grew up in the caves with us. We'd start a fire and they kept warm via the warmth of the human environment. And so the ones that died were the ones that bit their human like hosts and killed them. And so they adapted these really, really short teeth that can't bite our skin anymore. So if you find a sack spider somewhere in the corner of your house, they adapted not to hurt you because your warmth keeps them alive. So there you go. They're evolution, baby. All right, where am I? Where was I? Guitar stuff. Houston, what makes a volcano dormant versus extinct? My kids want to know if Mount Hood will erupt. Mount Hood will erupt. It is dormant. Extinct volcano means it will never erupt again. Dormant means it hasn't erupted in a while, and it may again. It's like Mount Rainier is dormant, but Mount Rainier will erupt again. Mount Baker is dormant, but Mount Baker will erupt again. Mount Fuji is dormant, but Mount Fuji will erupt again. It's just a matter of time. The Cascade Range will probably see lots of activity post big subduction quake, because there hasn't been any new material for 300 years to like melt and send up to those volcanoes. So when the subduction zone finally has the big 9.0 that we've been waiting on, that's when, you know, a few years later we'll start having volcanoes in the Cascade Range pop off. It's just been so long since it's got new material that, you know, Mount St. Helens the only one to really fart recently. Mount Lassen did in like 1909. There's been quite a bit of inflation at the Three Sisters, but not enough to like make people worried about anything. Chakuseki, a sack spider once bit me on the scrotum, and I was very unhappy. Sack spider got you in the sack, man. That's how it got its name. My brother had a coworker who got bit in the junk by a brown recluse. No me gusta. Sat in the toilet. It was there. Maybe it was an outhouse, something like that. Happens a few times a year, I guess. I went searching for it a couple weeks ago because someone asked me about it on Twitter, and I found a whole bunch of examples of people getting bit in the wiener and the cojones. I do not volunteer for that experiment. Happy Aloha Friday. Oh, it is Aloha Friday. It's Friday. Yeah, everyone's leaving work early. Oh, crud. I already lost my spot in the chat. Kitty cat. The cat's yelling at me. Okay, there we go. We're back. We're back and at it. Okay, those snake stories. Aloha Friday. Javi A. Houston, looks like the plunge protection team was able to give the market a little push right before close. We up or down next week? I think we're down for the next while. There may be a day here or there where things go, oh, all right, we're a little green. But, I mean, can you guys think of any positive news? Any news whatsoever across the economic front that makes you think, oh, you know what? Things are looking up. I cannot. Consumer confidence, all-time lows. It's the lowest has ever been measured in Europe. No one has any confidence in the economy. Bond markets are the worst they've ever been since the end of World War II. In the United States, they're the worst they've been since 1790. Bank earnings collapsing. We've got very large institutions that are doing very poorly. Hedge funds are doing very poorly. We've still have massive supply chain issues. Car repos, 20,000 cars are being repoed in the United States alone a day. We've got millions of foreclosures happening. Interest rates are the highest they've been since 2008. I can't think of anything good. Any reason to give things green. Might be individual stocks that have reasons to go green, but as a whole, the market's going to make a steady march downwards. Right, monkey? Yeah. Did you go bother the cat? Is that what you did? Yes, wag that tail. Wag that tail on the monkey cam. It's a monkey cam wag. Yeah. Give everybody a shot of your good side, right? Yeah. Okay. Chud McGruff Cakes. I do love that name. What is the most and least believable urban myth you've ever heard? Big dog. There he goes, yelling at somebody trying to come home. Most believable. Least believable. Like, all that's coming to mind is the Darwin Awards. Where are my Darwin Awards books? I had in this room? In the room. Yeah, crap. Some of them are not believable, but happened. Like, there's the guy who strapped the rocket to his car, I think actually happened. I think the Mythbusters ferreted that one out. Not believable. I don't think crocodiles crawl up drainage pipes. I think smaller things than that crawl up drainage pipes. And could one live in the sewer in New York? Is it like warm enough down there that a crocodile and alligator could live in a sewer in New York? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of insulated, but at the same time, like there's no direct heat source other than just warm water flowing down, and that would stay warm for very long. Plus, those alligators and crocodiles now get stuck by those what are those things called? Fatbergs, which is like the oily flushable wipes that collect. You gotta like bust them up. Don't flush flushable wipes. Only flush toilet paper, people. I have to go through. It's been a while since I've read any of my urban legend stuff. Chakuseki, why did the Lumberjacks viewership suffer? He got banned from YouTube. We can get banned from this chat. Maybe what's going to happen. Houston, can you explain the inverted yield curve? Seems like it's a bad omen for the economy. Any word on RRP still chugging along over $2 trillion? Yeah, and we're paying a boatload in interest. Interest now like 4% for those guys in the reverse repo market. So we're paying a lot for it. The yield curve has a bit to do with trying to attract people into investing in bonds. So if people think short term, you're screwed. You got to jack the interest rates on short term yields to get people involved. That's because they're seeing the short term as doomed. That's the best explanation I can give you. Is it like you got a 3-month bond, right? It's supposed to mature in 3 months, so it's a short bond. Usually has pretty low interest rates, just a quick little one and done type thing. Well, they're looking at short term as the economy is going to crash, and so this is a higher risk than it should be, and so the interest rates have to go up on it. So all of a sudden it inverts for the long term stuff, because now everyone wants the long term things compared to the short term things, because they want to skip over the doom that's going to happen in the short term with those who need those quick bonds. Big dog, you are a short-term bond. Yes, you are. 6-month short-term bond. And then we're going to take you back. We're going to pay back our bond. Yes, we are. Grape. Houston, grape flavor or orange flavor soda. Well, from your name, I assume you're a grape flavor soda person. Orange Fanta. When I was a kid in Japan, when I discovered Orange Fanta, it was my absolute favorite drink I've ever had in my entire life. It hits different in Japan than any of the Orange Fantas you can get around here. It was like angel choirs singing to me. If I go get a burrito, I like the Mandarin Doritos. I'll get those suckers. They're delicious. I did like the grape juice in a can that we had in Japan. For 100 yen, which was like 22 cents back then, you get this like steel can of either grape juice or orange juice that was like the sugary space age tang type thing that was delicious. And the can was impossible to dent. It was a steel can that was absolutely just like you could run over with a car and it was like a steel pipe. It would just be still circular. They fascinated me. It's been like I go get one for 25 cents and like bash against rocks trying to make a dent in it, and I couldn't. But I would switch on and off between the grape and the orange on those. They're both pretty tasty. I love grape juice in general. I drink quite a bit of it. But if I were at a restaurant and there's orange Fanta or grape sodas, I get orange Fanta. I like orange Fanta. Marlon Rivera. I thought it was Mariano Rivera. I was like, Mariano Rivera's in my chat? Marlon Rivera. Houston, keep up the good work. I look forward to listening to your show. Well, thank you. Citizen 54, Houston. Is hyperinflation coming? Some folks in super stonks seem to think the dollar milkshake theory is coming true. Thoughts? Hyperinflation for the US dollar? I don't see it coming. I think the Fed is going to jack interest rates so high to limit. They will go. The Fed will go and like shoot people on assembly lines before they let this thing go to hyperinflation. For the US. For other countries, on the other hand, yeah. I think quite a few of you are going to have hyperinflation. Mostly relegated to like second world developing nations. Will be facing it. Some European countries that aren't on the euro may be facing it, such as Great Britain. Great Britain may have a collapsing pound. Them leaving the euro was just doom for them. Absolutely. And the Tories have no plan. They have none. No plan whatsoever to deal with this. Being a safe haven for shady bankers works really well until those banks all collapse. So if you're in a situation where the bank is collapsing, and you are nothing but bankers, you're going to have some trouble. But real estate prices make it cheap in London. So, things are looking up for those folks looking to squat in various townhomes. So, all right. I know your friend just have him jump in the chat. He might be in the chat right now, actually. I won't tell you his name, but he might be in here. Guitar stuff. Goodbye, Big Dog. I will miss you barking while I wear headphones. Yeah, Big Dog. You and Monkey get in a fight for old time's sake for everybody? His tail's wagging. Yeah. Oh, you want to do that? Oh, you want to get in a fight? Monkey, do you want to get in a fight with Big Dog? Yeah, she's like, I could, give me a reason. After Big Dog's gone, she set up a roommate cam. Just roommate curled up on the ottoman while I do a show. Big Dog may make cameos. I don't know. Well, you may make a cameo at some point, right? Or we may just never see each other again. How's that sound? Huh? Oh yeah, ear hole scratch, the best kind of scratch. And that's how you melt a dog. You just give them a good old ear hole scratch. They don't know what to do with themselves. Poor Snoopy off to the glue factory. Night Rider's a good name for a dog. I like that, Corey Rider. Freaking Steve. Bat Bones, hello. Any thoughts of location of lost Sumac mine in Canada? Pitts Lake lost gold mine. Slumac. Curse of Slumac. Shoemaker built mining. Slumac's lost gold mine. I wrote Slumac and I read a Shumac. Slumac apparently is the lost gold mine. Part 1, the legend. Let's see where this goes. Chrome. Got to click on Slumac. Done. West Coast Placer. All right. West Coast lost treasure mines. Legend of Slumac's lost gold mine. Been part of 2 expeditions to find the mine in 2002 and 2014. On the West Coast, this legend is well known. Books have been written about this legend. I am not going to regurgitate the whole story here. This is about my own search for treasure. I first read the story called Lost Bonanzas, Western Canada. Coquitlam native named Slumac would occasionally come to Westminster with a bag full of gold nuggets. He would blow the wealth on liquor and brothels, and eventually return to cabin on Pitt Lake. Slumac alleged he would never tell the location of the mine to anyone. Slumac was eventually found guilty of murder, and the man finds the gold will live long enough to bring it out. Oh, so it's cursed, which is cool. Eventually, so this guy basically had a source for a bunch of gold. It got lost after he got in prison / sentenced to death. Huh. So where's Pitt Lake? Where was Pitt Lake? Coquitlam, Sumac, Bagfall, Pit Lake. Pit Lake. Where's Pit Lake? Let's open up ye old map here. Come on, Google Earth. Go faster. Okay. Pit Lake, British Columbia. Okay, this is really close to Vancouver. Alright, that's Pit Lake. Oh goodness, that can make for a lot of possibilities. So, if you look for a placer, you're going to be anywhere along these drainages. So, and there's no roads. So it's taking boat and hiking, maybe helicopters, to do anything about this. So I lived on a cabin somewhere out here. We got some sort of little hamlet here with some fancy boats and a winding river. So let's look at the mountains. We got some pothole lakes up here. Got any visible? It's all snow covered, so you can't really see much in the way of rock formations. Although there you got some discoloration here, so there's some mineralization happening in these cliffs here. How high up are we? 5,000? 5,000. Alright. Decent height on some of these lakes. These are really hard to get to, though. Although it looks like there's some cool cabins along the lake shores here, next to these rivers. These are steep rivers, too. So we are 13 feet elevation for the lake. Just a little bit away, you're up 100 feet, less than a mile. So that's pretty steep. Pretty steep. You're up 1,000 feet in how far? 1.3 miles, you go up 1,000 feet. That is a steep-ass river. That is a brutal hike. Ooh, that is not fun. So, probably one of the reasons why they haven't found it is because it's a pain in the ass in this area. Super pain in the ass. There is nothing. It is wolves and grizzly bears and all sorts of nasty things that will just kill you out here. But Pit Lake, there's definitely big mountains. There's lots of gold up in this whole area. Copper, silver, you name it. Britannia Beach here was the largest copper mine in the British Empire. It was this mine, whole ghost town, and it's a really fun mine tour if you take a trip up to Squamish or Whistler. I recommend it. It's got a good mine tour. I've actually contributed to the mine tour by giving them information that they didn't know, and now they include it in their tour. So there you go. But man, Pit Lake, this is like to go from one of the largest metropolitan areas in North America to like nothingness so soon. Pit Lake's crazy. Let's go Coquitlam Mountain. I'll look into that. I'll learn more about that sucker. There's all sorts of lost gold mine stories out there. Oftentimes, the mine got found, turned into a mine, and no one really attributed it to whoever it was that probably originally found it. Miss Missy, thank you for serving our country, Houston, or taking Big Dog, doing your part. I'll thank Sissy Wade, too. She's going to be so glad to be out of Dallas or Fort Worth or wherever she is right now. But yeah, her 6-month tour is up. She gets to fly home tomorrow morning and be with her family. And stoked. Big Dog, I think Big Dog doesn't want to leave. But he has to. So Monkey Butt and I can go adventuring because it's really hard to adventure with a dog that wants to kill everything. It's really stressful. And you have like this much leash and you're just constantly flexing to make sure he doesn't break loose and go murder someone's little chihuahua. It's brutal. Spencer just said, "Outsweater, everyone wants another HKD. They just want to participate without getting hurt." Bingo. I mean, it'd be really nice to be able to drop $4 on IPO and then that afternoon, 3 hours later, have it hit $2,400. That's a great way to have some worries dissipate off the shoulders of you. So, you know, throw some good after bad there. Corey Ryder, my dog got bit when he was like 3 months old, ruined him for getting along with dogs for a long while. Yeah, they get a little gun shy, right? Once bitten, twice shy. Brandon T. Houston currently dying in bed. Quite a few people are getting hit with what's probably BA7, the latest variant of COVID. I've got a friend who's been on her deathbed for like a week. Space Monkey's there. Iggy was there earlier. Man, you guys are starting to get hit again. Do not want that. I get my updated booster next Wednesday. So my show time will have to be somewhere either before or after that. So for next Wednesday. And completely outside of that, because for some reason Wednesday made me think of today. Nova Scotia is about to get hit with a Category 4 hurricane. Fiona just hammered Bermuda after ravaging Puerto Rico. Is now going to hit where Metamaterial is located there in Nova Scotia. I messaged my brother. I was like, hey, dude, you batten down the hatches? And he said, I'm on my way to Newfoundland because the waves are supposed to be 80 feet. So he's going to go surfing in giant hurricane waves in Newfoundland. So there you go. So anyway, Brandon C. says, currently dying in bed. Kids started school and they brought home flu. Gave me some hopium about MOAS, please. The best hopium we have right now is that the economy is starting to crash. And that's one of the factors is we need assets and arrangement to die so that liabilities become gigantic. So that's what we're waiting on. And it's coming. And Ronald like Houston, last show I asked if your siblings invest in the same stocks as you do, or if they invest completely differently. Do they have the same risk tolerance as you? Do they believe MOAS? I don't. Well, Gardner plays the market. He's kind of skeptical of MOAS in general, but I think he has GameStop and some others. My youngest sister, she threw a couple of grand at GME and is just sitting on it. She bought pretty early, so I think it was the price was below $100 a share when she bought in, so she's probably still technically green on that. A cousin that bought GME independent of me, she read some articles in January 21. She's like, I'll throw some at that. My other siblings, well, military sister, she has pensions, and then she throws money at mutual funds every month and just doesn't care, doesn't pay attention to it otherwise. But I don't know if my other siblings do any investments. There's a lot of us. There's 7 of us, so I don't know if they pay attention at all, honestly. Just work, save. That might be what they're doing. Risk tolerance. For those with kids, the risk tolerance is different than those of us without kids because we don't have anyone relying on us other than like a dog that can eat garbage and be happy. So my risk tolerance is probably higher than siblings that have children, be my guess. Houston, what's your favorite conspiracy theory and why? Favorite conspiracy theory and why? I think the lizard people conspiracy theory is hilarious. And I'm pretty sure it all came from the 1980s V miniseries. Where like rip the face off and there's like a lizard person underneath. I'm pretty sure that's what it came out of. And I think it's hilarious that we have this whole subset population who's just cannot accept the fact that the elite are run by lizards. I don't know. Or they're not that they can't accept it, that they are wholeheartedly believing that everyone who runs everything is some sort of weird lizard person. That one cracks me up a lot. And a lot of the crypto zoology things, like, you know, here we are destroying habitat like crazy, but we still haven't come across an abominable snowman or Ogopogo or Loch Ness Monster or Sasquatch. Like, we have mowed through all of their habitat. You'd think a Ring camera would pick up Sasquatch picking through someone's garbage can at this point, but it hasn't happened yet. So the cryptozoology ones are always funny. It's just some drunk, hairy French lumberjack is what it was. Corey Ryder, this crash, some will say, will make 2008 look like a walk in the park. Yeah, I think this one's going to be bigger than 2008. Longer, more deeply rooted. It's much more of a global thing from multiple standpoints this time around than basically housing, which is what the problem was. It's housing this time, but also war, supply chain, international real estate, corporate real estate, industrial real estate, inflation. Yeah, everything's going boop. Joshua, GME, do you think retail is keeping the market up with all of our options gambling, or is that too far-fetched? Retail hasn't panicked yet, which will be, I think, the trigger that drops everything. When retail finally goes, oh my God, they dump their 401ks, that might be what does it. Right now, it's still like quivering. It's quivering, and we have not seen that huge sell-off of retail investments yet. As someone pointed out earlier on Twitter, like, cash is the best thing to have when the economy drops. Really, it's like the best hedge. Just put all the cash and sit and wait. And then when it hits bottom, you throw the cash back in and you go up 5-6 times. Daphne got some AVCT. Excellent. Stream Big Dog Reunion. I don't know when that's going to be. We'll find out. Missy, I think you know Putin's a ticking time bomb. His winter looks ugly. Power and fuel shortages. Food limits, yada. That said, do you prep? I am, for the first time, trying to convince myself I'm not crazy. When COVID hit, I put food stores in, simply because, you know, COVID shut everything down. Who knows if food's going to get anywhere? The slaughterhouse is working. Who's staying home? Whatever. So I prep for that. I may go and get more soups and juices, and I'm not too worried about things like water or stuff like that. But you know. Some preserved foods might be good to have. I don't think the United States is going to get hit the way that Europe will, the way North Africa and developing nations will be, because they rely on so much wheat coming from Russia and Ukraine. So, excuse me. Those are who is really going to be hurting. And that's who I'd be mostly worried about. I'm not too worried in the U.S. U.S. we grow a lot of our own food. We might not have, maybe we might be low on fruits and some veggies that might not get imported from South America or something. But for the most part, I think we'll be okay on food in the U.S. at least. Those of you in England are going to be eating like your house pets and trying to like do stew with old books or something. So, you know, you guys have to look at that. Jerry Diamond, is the first recession you can stream whatever you want at any second for free? Yeah, there weren't any streaming services during the last recession. You could get DVDs in the mail from Netflix, but there were no streaming services. YouTube was still only 4 years old when the last time the economy collapsed. So yeah. Huh. Mark Mills, TNT thing real or not? It's real. Your lender is in it for the money. If you don't give them their money, they're gonna take it from you. We can show, there's plenty of rules. FINRA, where are you? There, 4314. Here's FINRA 4314. Turn off Earth. 4314, securities loan borrowings. Right to liquidate transaction. This is B right here. Each member that is a party to an agreement with another member providing for the loan and borrowing of securities shall have the right to liquidate such transaction whenever the other party to such transaction applies for consent to or subject of an application for employment of taking the possession of by receiver, custodian, trustee, or liquidator of itself of all substantial part of property. 2, admits in writing its inability or becomes generally unable to pay its debts, such as debts come due. 3, makes a general assignment for the benefits of creditors, or 4, files or has filed against it petition under Title 11, blah, blah, blah. Basically saying you put up collateral when you borrowed, and the lender has the right to take your collateral from you and sell it to close position. There are lots of rules like this out there. If you shorted a stock and that stock offers a dividend, you must remit that dividend payment to whoever you borrowed the stock from, right? And if you don't, you are in default. And if you are in default, they can liquidate you. Now, right now, we're seeing a T90 situation on Steve Cohen in 0.72. He's been underwater on margin for 90 days, and now they're talking about liquidating him. He's going to get liquidated, which means the Mets might get liquidated, which is crazy because they're one of the best teams in baseball right now, doing an amazing job heading into the playoffs. So I wonder if we're going to see an announcement about the Mets before or after the playoffs. It'd be pretty crazy if, like, teams up for sale now, being sold by some bank or whatever. But yeah, T90, it happens all the time. You cannot owe and not pay. They'll come and take it from you. As simple as that. You guys can read the rule yourself. I'll throw it in the chat here. Oops, no, I didn't want to paste. Dang it, refresh. I'll copy. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, threw in the chat. William Morgan, during the Great Depression, theaters did very well. They were affordable entertainment, a form of escapism. Theaters were more expensive relative to the value of the dollar then than now. I mean, it was a nickel for a movie back then. Great if movies were a nickel now. Jerry Diamond, whatever happened to Elon and Twitter? Well, that's still going. The Chancery Court will be hearing on all of it. That the hearings actually have the full trials happening. There's been pre-trial hearings establishing discovery and stuff like that, but the actual trial itself hasn't happened yet. Dennis, I love the show. I love you, Dennis. Jerry Diamond, by 1933, movie attendance and industry revenues had fallen by 40%. To survive, the industry trimmed salaries and production costs and closed the doors of a third of the nation's theaters. Well, isn't that around the time that the Paramount Act went into place? Paramount Rule, Paramount. United States versus Paramount. When year was that? 1948. So that was after the war. Sorry, I thought it was before the war. It was after the war that it went into effect. Dude, people are allowed to open and close doors in this house. They live here too, man. It's okay. It's okay. I will not miss that. Get Forged Hey, Houston, do you think puts on Ford for after earnings would be a solid play? Isn't Ford like only $3 a share right now? Oh, it's 12. Sorry. Way higher than I thought. It's pretty flat for the day. After hours didn't do much. Stayed very flat after hours. Come on, give me some. Did my internet just die? What's going on? Move. Do something. My internet's not. I mean, it looks like I'm streaming here, but the Google is not doing the Google thing. There we go. Okay. So, January, we're at 25. We dipped down to a low of 11. And now we're back at 12. Maybe. Car companies in general are doomed. They just are. People are not going to be buying cars at the price they're buying them now. Supply chain is still affecting them. Repos are through the roof, which means used cars that are pretty decent, that have not been too abused or too old, they're going to be entering the market, and the price is going to just fall on used cars. Yeah, I think Ford has a ways to go. GM has a ways to go. I think you know, car companies in general probably decent put buy in general. Kiefel, greetings. Is it safe to assume molasses toast with SEC actually supporting the hedgies, one issue after another? I don't know if the hedgies can survive a market collapse. So I don't know if it matters if the SEC is helping them or not. A market collapse does not care. They will eat up everything. I mean, if a bank like Credit Suisse, which has been around for hundreds of years as a like mammoth investment bank, is about to blink out of existence because it's posted its third huge loss in a row, and their stock is seriously, Credit Suisse stock I think is like $3 and something. Oh, sorry, $4. I went up a little bit today. It's at $4.13. A year ago, it was at. So it's a quarter of what it was. Third of what it was. So it's dropped 60% in the last year, and it's fallen hard right now. It was $5 a week ago. Now it's at $4, so it's lost 20% of its value in a week. That's what happened with Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers. It's just, and there's no recovery from that. Scott Lumley, Houston, what goes first? Sears dividend or MOAS? MOAS. I think MOAS comes before Sears dividend because I think MOAS will have to coincide with the market collapse. I think Sears dividend will be post that, because Sears dividend probably not until after January, which is the poor time to do it because that's when corporate real estate is just going to be falling off. Commercial real estate will be falling off a cliff, so it's going to be brutal to try and sell those properties in that environment. You're not going to get top dollar for them at all, which is a bummer because I'd like top dollar for all that. B-Ball 3710. Why is Ape 90 Day Squeeze Trigger not getting talked about anymore? Any big buyers that we know of to reaffirm that logic? I have no idea. If anyone knows of big buyers, throw them out there. There are folks that are constantly saying like, nope, not going to happen. And they don't really give any reason why. They say no, not possible. And you ask them, well, what do you have to say it's not possible? It just isn't. It isn't possible. Like, dude, if you lent someone money, I mean, they went 90 days without paying you, what happens? Goes to collections, you go break some kneecaps, you do something, right? Because it's your money. That's what they owe you. It's the entire reason you lent them was for the profit, and they aren't paying you the profit. Well, time to go kneecap some people. Houston, happy birthday. Please explain why AMC, Ape, GME are getting driven in the basement. Thanks. Dark pools, man. 85% of ape trades are going through dark pools right now. 85%. So if you see a volume of 5 million, that volume's actually like 25 million, maybe more. That's what's happening. They're just driving into the ground. So that's why that's the SEC not banning dark pools and going out of their way saying, yeah, we're not going to ban these, is an atrocity and something that needs to be rectified at the congressional level. Like Congress needs to step in and say, no more dark pools. Every trade must go through a lit exchange. The price must be reported. No more dark pools. None. And we might not see that until the economy collapses, because keeping people from knowing the price of goods and services they're buying and securities is not a great way to run a market. You can't have a secret market. It doesn't work. Not if you're trying to have like a free and fair market of some kind. It's just bad. It's bad. Native Flight repo dropped by 40 billion today. What was that money used for? I don't know. There may be some being pulled out because banks need cash collateral for the ISDA. Like Jamie Dimon was complaining that Chase has to pull out $200 billion in cash that they can't use for anything. It just has to sit there. So maybe that's because it has to be pulled out and it can't be used. Maybe now that stuff is now not contributing to the reverse repo market. The whole point of the reverse repo market is to hold cash back from the banks so that they don't spend that money, contribute to inflation that way. Houston couldn't get on the U.S. men's curling team. I mean, they are based out of Seattle. That's where the U.S. men's curling team is from. They're from the curling rinks here in Seattle. So maybe. I might, if I had the time, maybe dinghy sailboat racing. I don't lose. I went all through college on the club team at Hilo and never lost a race. And even beat at the time, the University of Hawaii, Manoa, had the best sailing team in the world, and I crushed them. And the coach from that team was like, who the hell are you? I'm like, I'm John Wade's son. That's who I am. He's like, I don't know who that is. But I can dinghy race really good. Really good. So, I don't know. If I drop $20,000 into a sweet laser, I could dinghy race the best of them at the Olympics. But I don't know. If I'm going to train for dinghy racing, I'm going to do it where the water's a lot warmer, because you get dunked a lot in a laser. And it's cold here. If I got a tattoo, it would be tattoo from Fantasy Island. The plane. Why is Big Dog leaving? Because he's going back to my sister's. I've only had him for 6 months because my sister got called up to active duty and had to live in Dallas and just couldn't take care of the dog. And her husband and kids, they have another dog who's a lot of work, and it just was too much for him trying to handle the kids and both dogs. And Snoopy's a lot. He's a loving, sweet, cuddly dog, but he also seriously will pull your arm off to go murder somebody. And that's just a lot of responsibility. So I got 3 acres here so he can run around and be a dog. And Monkey Butt can kick his ass and teach him to be a behaving dog. So that's why he was here for 6 months. Monkey's our dog. Corey Ryder stared down a mother black bear in the back windshield of the car while cubs played in my sandbox over Manitoba polar bear country. Ugh. I mean, black bears normally can be like, get the hell out of here. And they're like, oh, okay. It's the other ones that are the grizzlies, polar bears. Generally, you can't be like, get the hell out of here. And they're like, make me. So, those are the ones you don't want to confront. I don't want to confront them. I've not seen a grizzly in the wild. There are reports that some have been up in the North Cascades, sort of near where I've won my gold claims. It's been a while since I've been up into the gold claim. But I had a friend who wanted to go hiking, and she's like, good spots to go hiking. I'm like, well, actually, where my gold claim is on the Twist River, it's a great parking lot, cool trail from there. And she went up there and got like a quarter mile from the car, got a picture of what we think was a grizzly bear. And she's like, went back to the car, not hiking that trail. Meow meow. Which Fall of the Cabal by Janet Ossabard is really interesting, but it got a lot of BS mixed in. She's a Trumper to QAnon, so it's kind of meh. It's on BitChute. Watch Fall of the Cabal. Okay. I try to avoid BitChute because BitChute was literally a website created to host white supremacist videos that weren't allowed elsewhere. So, like, try to avoid BitChute, but I'll look up what Fall of the Cabal is. I'll look at it. Why not? Why not? Michael Harrow, if we wanted to rent that space, where do we pay you the $50? PayPal works. DM through Twitter is like the best way to get a hold of me. That's how I see it the most easily. Yeah, that's best. Send me what you want, and I'll send you the PayPal information or Cash App or Venmo or whatever works for you. David Morgan just landed in Chicago. If anyone wants to meet up inside Secure Zone main terminal. It's a big airport. Someone might be hanging out with you. Hell of a way to die. Coconut crabs. Yeah, just being ripped apart by crabs seems like a pretty rough way to go. Like, at what point are you just give up? You're like, I can't fight these things off anymore. It's going to rip me apart. Or are you, like, still swinging? Or, like, how long does it take coconut crab to eat you? Or how many coconut crabs does it take to debone it in Amelia Earhart? Oof. Vanilla ever watch Dutch Sense on YouTube? Follows earthquakes, sunflowers, and more. I've not seen that, so I don't know. Houston to see MMTLP today. I did not look at MMTLP today. What's happening with MMTLP? Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. Open up that one. There we go. That's the one that's in. Yes. Log in. MMTLP, what are you doing? What are you doing, MMTLP? Blink. MM. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, see all. I was like, it vanished. MMTOP up to $1.50. 0% change. Huh. Looks like it's not doing anything right now. So MMTOP didn't do anything. Nothing traded. I wonder if this means the S1 is getting approved? You guys think? It's stopped trading entirely, so no one's allowed to buy or sell. I'd be curious to see what happens there. MMTLP's not doing jack. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There we go. There's MMTLP. $1.50 finishes, goes $1.54 right back to where it started. $1.51. So it didn't do squat doodle. Min high is 160. 163 last week. 95 back in June. Let's see. Any news on this one? Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Nope. No news. No news in the S1 yet. Chuck is a bit occupier of VWAP Pontiff Conqueror of Chats. It's true. Thank you. Thank you, Bithead. You are a wonderful Australian. And yes, I will buy you a beer when we get to Australia. Aaron Salentine, Houston, did you see how AVCT is up 94% on the week while the market bleeds? The bulls are back in force. Hope your calls are printing like mine. The Microsoft buyout soon, $8 a share. I still have not found anything solid guaranteeing that Microsoft has done an $8 share buyout, but it is going up again. It hit 40 cents a couple weeks ago, 40 something cents, and then came back down again. But people are looking for a play in a market like this, and nice to have something go up 94%, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, you resetting chat every single time. Every single time. Okay, we're past Bithead. We were talking with, there's 94%. People talking about Avatar 2 is going to crush Avatar 1. Then 2008, 2009 box office, Dark Knight did $1 billion. Don Caesars, Shade M. Aaron Saltine, I've been avoiding penny stocks, but I did go in at AVCT on Wednesday, and I'm hoping for continuation. Yeah, get it. And Ronald Houston, the judge in the Sears Holding bankruptcy, is officially retired. How long till shareholders get paid? How much do you think we'll get per share? When real estate was hot, it was looking at $17 per share. Real estate is a lot colder now and getting colder, so I don't know if it'll be as high anymore. Yeah. I don't know how high. I have no idea what exactly properties they'd be selling, but my guess is they're involved in warehousing and corporate office space and retail. So those three areas of commercial real estate. And all three of those aren't doing so hot right now. So I can't guess. Maybe half that? Like $8 a share? Maybe? If there's more than that, be happy? Somewhere in there? Brown on a cruise is worse. Dust G used to have been buying Turkish liquid natural gas shares, Canadian stock, Turkish liquid natural gas to Europe. Thoughts, if any? Europe needs it. Pricing just shoots through the roof, especially if they get a cold winter. Europe right now is about 1 billion cubic meters short, 100 billion cubic meters short of what they'll need for this winter. I mean, you got Germany nationalizing their largest supplier of liquid natural gas. There's going to be some events that happen around that stuff. Jared Diamond is going to be way worse than 2008. AMC already has 5.5 billion debt, 5 billion back rent, 12 billion liabilities. That's 22 billion debt going into modern day Great Depression with 800 million cash left during slow season. 5 billion back rent? That one's new. I mean, they can make $5 billion with a $10 ape share. So I don't think they're going anywhere soon right now. Russia releasing a new movie called Slavatar 2 Squats of Fury. So Putin's trying to ban vodka in Russia right now. Last time they did that, it resulted in the overthrow of the Tsar. So, sure, Putin, ban alcohol in Russia. Let's just see what happens when you have 100 million people get the shakes all of a sudden. Have you seen some of the videos of the conscripts just waddling drunks everywhere? They're pretty funny, I have to admit. Indiana Jones, the Ben Gay from hell. Susan 54, as an individual, how do you hedge against hyperinflation? Be rich already? Probably the best way to hedge against hyperinflation? Because the price of everything just goes... So if you already have holdings and all sorts of stuff, then you will be getting that benefit as well as the zeros start adding on. Yeah, that's the best way. Or to be rich. As a poor individual, you just get F'd in the A. Maybe buy gold. Yeah, that's about it. Indiana Jones and the Eye of Africa. That freaking guy, Mexican bottle Coca-Cola is the best. It is the best we can get in the U.S., that's for sure. Jamie S., why is Boss Blunt's making his last stream and so sure 2 weeks is Moas? I don't know, I have to ask him. We didn't talk about that when he was on the show the other day. Maybe he thinks everything's going to collapse the next 2 weeks. I think it's entirely possible. I'm giving it that 7-week window to like November 15th to 20th, somewhere in there. So, probably happen before then, but the economy is about to just fall. Just open up and just... And that's going to be it. So that's what we're looking for. Vanilla Gorilla, gotta go. My girl with COVID, sick with COVID. Yeah, nothing different happened to me though. Gotta go comfort my girl. Well, yeah, go comfort her. Make sure she's doing well. She can't be having fun right now. Need a flight to keep in pimp for order flow. Not good for the movement. Not good at all. Pimp for order flow's got to go. Dark pools have got to go. High frequency trading's got to go. Naked shorting's got to go. Debt and equity swaps have got to go. Just get rid of them. Take all these weird little magic tricks they have and just get rid of them. Stuff that you and I can't do, hedge funds and big brokerages shouldn't be allowed to do. Either everybody can do it or no one can do it. That's the way it should be. There should not be superpowers. Hey, if Fidelity wanted to give me access to supercomputers so I could do high frequency trading, why not? But I don't have that access, so why do they give it to other people? They should not. There's no reason you should be able to play the arbitrage market a million times in a second to get so many trades done with the same share going back and forth. It just shouldn't happen that way. Big Star Stuff, does your sister know the odd relationship that Big Dog has established with his chat? I think she's aware. I told her that he's become his own micro celebrity on the internet. She's like, oh, okay. She's not as perpetually online as I am, so she's like, cool, whatever, I got work to do. Mike Marshall, Houston, what do you think about shorting blue chip stocks? I mean, easiest way to short them is puts, and SPY puts are the easiest way to short those guys, really. The whole thing's going to go and so on. I think possibly right before earnings for your big retailers, your Amazons, Target, Walmart, might be a really good time to buy a bunch of puts in those things, like short-term ones, not to spend out far, because the news will come out that sales are down, visitations are down, inventory is like stagnating, and that might be a good time to get some puts on those guys. Trey Spider gonna miss Big Dog. Big Dog, they're gonna miss you, big dumb oaf. They're gonna miss you so much. Don C. Shade, I'm gonna go watch episode of Umbrella Academy with the wife. Well, say hello to her for us. I haven't watched the new season yet. Is it good? Previous couple seasons are pretty good. Funny. Indiana Jones and the Journey to the Correct Terminal. Brendan Ella's fun adventure, yet my house fell $40,000 in 4 months. Woo. Well, I mean, if anything, people are going to save on their taxes for next year. That's for sure. We got 7 months in a row of house prices falling, and this last month was the fastest they had fallen in a single month since 2011, which was the bottom of the market. So that means we got a ways to go. We got a ways to go for sure. KG, I watched the Pal Talk today, and the manufacturing committee head was saying that there is a big demand for workers, but nobody wants to stick around despite high entry pay and training. The head said it's due to a generation of workers favoring tech jobs, but I think it's been decades of poor policy in educating workforce and allowing companies to outsource. Thoughts? Also, it's been decades of not having programs who work with your hands. Like, I was the last generation that had wood shop in my high school. Before that, my sister's generation was the last generation that had auto shop and metal shop. If I wanted to work, I wanted to work on cars. I did. I love working on cars. But if I wanted to go to a high school, there's only one high school left in my county that had an auto shop, and it was basically a 4-hour commute every day to get there. So. And I would miss half the day at my regular school. Like, I didn't want to become an auto mechanic, but I wanted to work on cars. I wanted to do physics and engineering. So I would miss all of the required classes, graduate high school, to like learn how to work on a car. No. So I had to like not learn from an expert on how to work on the car and then figure out the hard way with YouTube videos 20 years later. We cut school budgets so much that people no longer work with their hands regularly, and they don't learn to weld or how to read schematics or how to repair things. And so they don't have home ec courses where they learn how to cook food for themselves anymore. We are losing a large portion of our self-reliance. And it's kind of like systemic. Think about the military, right? Military bases. For 100, 200 years, you had guards who were members of the military who worked the gates, right? Come through, some guy who's a member of the military be like, ID, okay, check that, type this in, whatever, okay, good to go. That was who it was. A law suddenly got passed saying, no. You cannot have members of the military protect bases anymore. You have to hire a civilian contractor. So that these big contracting companies who get like a yearly contract to bring in, some rent-a-cop to now do the job that the military was doing at cost. But now this company has to make a profit at it, so they charge the government way too much money to do the same job the government was doing at cost before. Or you had army cooks. You had guys who joined the army, and their job was literally to cook food for people, right? They would figure out, the logistics of cooking food for a whole bunch of people, and that logistics was set up so that you could do it anywhere in the world if there's a combat situation or whatever. And then all of a sudden, the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan, they get rid of the army cooks and they bring in KBR as a contractor and charge the U.S. government $100 a meal to feed our troops. $100 a meal for 20 years to feed our troops, right? Well, before, the cost was maybe $1.50 a meal or less for this streamlined not-for-profit system of having the army cook its own food. They also did the thing in '97. One of the worst laws that Bill Clinton signed was the one that banned off-base military housing to be run by the military. So I grew up next door to 14 or 16 houses, family homes that were occupied by Navy families, enlisted Navy families. And these little 3-bedroom houses built in the 60s on one little road. They had a little play structure and, big grass common yards, and everyone had a little 2-car garage. And these homes were well kept. They were lovely. They were maintained, and they were full of Navy families. And then in '97, they passed a law saying the Navy can no longer manage these properties. They must subcontract to somebody else. So a subcontractor comes in, a for-profit company, doing it much more expensively than the Navy ever did it for. And all of a sudden, to save money, they stopped doing maintenance. So your water heater breaks, I just won't rent your phone calls for a month. Oh, the play structure has a big jagged piece of metal sticking out? Man, I'm not going to pay attention to that. Oh, you've got a leak in your roof? Whatever. And eventually, the Navy folks no longer wanted to live in those houses. So the Navy's like, oh, people don't want to live here anymore. I guess this is surplus property. Well, I might as well put it up for auction. And who buys the property? The property management company who never maintained the property. They buy it, get a screaming deal, and then they develop the property into something else. So now it's a 300-unit condo, where it was 14 family homes before that housed Navy people. And we do that in every institution in the U.S. government because we think privatization somehow means efficiency. It doesn't. It doesn't. You want to know why, if you go to Norway or to Japan, why the roads and the sidewalks are so nice, and why you don't see these like cutout patchworks everywhere in all the cities you work in as they put in new utilities? Because a lot of them own the road company, right? Like if your town just went to an auction and bought an asphalt paver for $150,000 and then like 6 dudes to run that thing year round, it would cost you maybe $500,000 a year in labor, plus whatever materials you'd need for the asphalt paver, and you could just be constantly paving every road in your community all day, every day. So you have nice fancy roads constantly. So let's say $2 million a year in material, and every road in your community in a 5-year period can be brand spanking new in a constant revolving repavement structure. But no, instead we'll subcontract to somebody, pay them $1 million a mile to do that, when for $1 million, if you're doing it at cost, you could do 50 miles of paving. So we take away the experience from folks, we subcontract, we remove their ability to like do these things themselves, and then we complain that no one's doing it anymore. Okay. Like those KBR employees subcontracted for the military to feed them in Iraq and Afghanistan, they were from like the Philippines and stuff. They weren't Americans. So it wasn't like Americans were learning how to like cook food for 100,000 soldiers. It was a bunch of Filipino ladies that they brought in to do that job. Well, before, you literally had kitchen staff. That was their whole role. And I think it brought being able to construct things, even if you weren't going to become an auto mechanic or a contractor yourself, but like knowing how to fix a table leg or to get a shim in a window so it levels out, or make sure a wall is flush, or how to swap the hinges on a door, like knowing how to do those little things in life save you time, energy, and money. And it's really cool to solve those problems. And so if you give middle schooler and high schoolers the access to be able to do stuff like that, they may not go into that as a career, but they'll bring that problem solving and know-how into their career to help them. Like, one of the biggest problems we have as a nation is, quite frankly, and there's probably some of you in here, are business majors, right? You go to college, you learn business. All right, cool. You learn a couple of management strategies, buy low, sell high, supply and demand, and you're done. Then maybe you go off to do an MBA. And so you learn more management strategies plus buy low, sell high, supply and demand, and you're done. Then you get a job as a corporate executive without knowing how to design, engineer, manufacture, anything, right? You've never done those things. You don't know what it takes to make this product that your company is now selling, but all of a sudden you're in charge of everyone who makes that product. You are not going to make the best decisions possible because you have no experience. There's a business school here on the island that's pretty prestigious, Bainbridge Graduate Institute, and it's kind of a hippie business school. It's for people who want MBAs who care about the environment and like social responsibility. And a bar I worked in, whenever they finished like quarterly exams or midterms, the whole group of them would come in and just get sloshed at the bar. And I've never met a larger group of more useless human beings in my entire life. Like, they knew they wanted to go into business because that's what dad wanted them to do or whatever, but they didn't want to do it like that. They wanted to be a little more responsible. They want to think about the environment and whatever, but they're still going to be like in a corporate world. They're just going to be a little green about it. They went to an Ivy League or a fancy liberal arts college for free because dad paid for it. They never had a job in high school. They never had to work during college. They spent a year or two traveling the world on dad's credit card, backpacking through Europe and, going to Thailand and Australia and New Zealand and stuff. And then it was time to go to grad school. So they went to grad school and became, to become captains of industry. And never along the way had they ever held a job of any kind at all, ever. Like, they'd never worked at a grocery store, never worked at a movie theater, never washed dishes. Like, they'd never done anything. And all of a sudden, their first job out of graduate school is going to be an executive track management position at 25 years old at some giant Fortune 500 company. So now you got this person who's going to have nothing but positions of power for the next 20 to 40 years at big corporations, investment banks, you name it, and they've never done anything before. Automatically, they're in charge of other human beings, and they've never been one of those human beings who's had someone in charge of them. So you create a upper echelon of essentially just useless people. And any of you ever read World War Z? Max Brooks wrote such an amazing book. Oh my God, that book is amazing. But one of the things I love about that book was, the zombie apocalypse is happening and you're on a war footing, so you need like factories and munitions and all this stuff. And everyone's getting sort of conscripted or drafted to like fight the zombies. And there's a story about like this lawyer and her maid Consuela or whatever, and they both get drafted into working in a munitions factory. And the lawyer all of a sudden is finding herself working as a sweeper, sweeping up factory floors, right? Because the factory floor has to be clean because they're making munitions. And Consuela, who was her employee, her housemaid, is now in charge of her. She's her boss. And the lawyer's like, I'm a lawyer. I have all these years of experience. Why on earth is Consuela in charge of me? And the factory foreman's like, because Consuela knows how to sweep a floor, and being a lawyer is completely useless during the zombie apocalypse. You have zero skills that pertain to anything that we're doing here because we cannot prosecute zombies. All we can do is shoot them in the head, and we need lots of bullets to do that, and we need a clean floor so we can make those bullets. And that part's totally stuck with me, because what I saw in that lawyer was these Bainbridge Graduate Institute kids getting sloshed twice a quarter in the bar I worked in, and that none of them ever had a job in their entire lives. And that they're, going to go on, they're going to make millions. How? I don't know. But they are. They're going to live in big houses and, have lots of trophy wives and have club memberships. But we'll have zero clue how any single product is made because they've never worked with their hands ever. They've never made a sandwich. Man, it's I totally forget where I was going with that. Oh, because the whole question was about factory workers not showing up to work in factories. I mean, are you going to go sit in an assembly line and like stamp something or like weld one little part, next time comes over and weld one little part for $17 an hour when you can make $30 an hour sitting in a chair? Like, which one are you going to take? Especially when you don't have any experience doing that stuff, but you're really good at sitting in a chair. I don't know. We killed off our manufacturing abilities in this country huge, and we outsourced it all, and our tooling's gone for a lot of this stuff, so we'd have to like literally dismantle factories in China, bring it all back, train a whole bunch of people how to use this stuff again. The tooling's gone. We just don't have the ability to make stuff here anymore for a lot of things. That's the big roundabout way of going through that whole rant. Okay, I am so far behind in the chat. Let's see if we can get somewhere here. We got Jerry and William seem to be fighting each other at the moment, but so scroll past your fights there. Okay. A sirloin steak at Tesco's is 32 pounds. I just bought 4 half-pound sirloin steaks for $9. So, the pound's dropping so much, so 10 pounds for 4 sirloin steaks? Man, you guys are getting screwed, man. You're gonna sorry, Bone Cruncher, you're all gonna starve to death. I apologize ahead of time. I hope things go well, but this is definitely probably... I mean, I thought the 70s were kind of bottom for the UK, and that brought about Thatcherism, but I think you guys are... You ain't gonna go... You'd be wishing you had Thatcherism at this point. DevStar Omga, thoughts on Pixar's Checkmate tweet? I have no idea what Pixar's Checkmate tweet is. I don't see what that is, where it is. Oh. It's the old guy from Up? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So, no opinions yet. I need special glasses to see lizard people. Jim Cramer did say Bear Stearns was a good buy. It was a deal. He's probably telling everyone to buy Credit Suisse right now. It's only $4. Buy it up. Woo! Awooga! Ding, 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 ding. Beep, 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 beep. Honk, honk. I feel like I should make a noise box like Jim Cramer has and just do a show slapping buttons one day. Andrew Stewart, Houston, what is your favorite band from the 1980s? Either The Cult or Faith No More. Those are probably my two favorites from the 80s. I mean, technically Soundgarden started in the 80s. Just like throw that in there. But The Cult or Faith No More. Somewhere in there. Mike Marshall, Houston, will bond yield spike because of margin calls on shorts? Ooh, that's a good question because they're going to have to liquidate bonds that are held by these shorts in order to pay off what they owe, right? And to get people to buy those bonds, they're going to have to make interest rates go up to tantalize them into actually picking them up. Possibly? Very possibly, Mike. Oh, everything wants to just reset constantly. Okay, where was I? Oh, I was at Mike. Oh man, I'm so far behind. All right, 2 there. Okay, past that FINRA post I did. Bone Cruncher, people are not buying new that I thought used car prices would rise. Well, used car prices rose last year because they weren't able to get chipsets available, semiconductors, to put in new cars. So the new cars couldn't drive. And so people who needed new cars had to go in the used car market to get a car, and the car prices skyrocketed. Way too high for used cars. And now all those used cars are being repoed at a huge cost of $18,000 to $20,000 a day in the United States alone. I don't know what's happening elsewhere in the world with those numbers, but yeah, those are all being repoed, and the prices are going to start dropping as there's a glut of cars in the market, and as people face credit crunches and they can't get loans for cars and they can't get financing for stuff, they're going to find themselves not buying cars. If they're not buying cars, then more cars end up flooding the market that can't be sold, and the price is going to drop even more. Tyler Connor was able to place an order for AMC One contracts today. I had to call it in. Old guy on the phone said it was basically lighting my money on fire. Order still hasn't filled. Someone else messaged me about they managed to get like a couple of them, but it took all day to fill them, and through TD Ameritrade they had to call to place the order. But like lighting your money on fire, young buck. Drew, no double intro Monday will be the catalyst. I'm getting 7 days. 7 shows, no double intro. We're getting there. Right, big dog? High five? High five? I'll pat your nose. How about that? Okay. You won't be here for it, though. You'll be at home going, why am I back in this house again with these people? What's the deal with these people? King Louis, the green on AMC and GME could be attributed to them being on SSR from yesterday's drop. Very possible. Also, XRT went on the thresholds list again. So that means we got 13 trading days until there's going to be some buying for stocks involved with XRT, which involve AMC and GME. So, woo! I need one good pop. I mean, my calls are for somewhere at the end of October. I need one good. Where's one good, solid, there you go, buddy, type pop. So those calls can be worthwhile for me. I want superpowers. All I have are diamond balls. Robert Armstrong, tell your sister thank you for your service. Help you tell her for us, big dog. He's gonna be like, who are you again? Dr. Combs for Bass. For Bass. Houston, where could I find old home site information? Looking for a place to swing in Western Washington. Tired of parks. Love the show. Or looking for like homesteading type places? I don't know. I mean, what I look at is the LR2000 database, which will tell me where various gold claims have been in the past. Yeah, but I mean, much of Eastern Washington is lots of national forests. I mean, you can go with lots of national forests in Western Washington too, through the Cascades and whatnot. Lots of places to go. But old home site information. Maybe a little more specific for that, and I'll figure out what's happening there. Frozen State Productions. I saw a Rivian pickup truck today. How much infrastructure is needed to go all electric if we can't keep the lights on in California? I think the big changes we got to do to keep the lights on in California is either get rid of the public utilities we have now and nationalize them so that they actually serve a purpose and do their job, or do what Hawaii has done and incentivize them to upgrade their lines. Like the big problem in California is that a lot of the high tension lines they were built, oh, big dog, I want to pet your head, were built 100 and something years ago. And they do not make any money by making sure that they're safe. And so a lot of the parts and pieces in these lines are breaking and falling on the ground and then catching the forest on fire. So when it gets hot, they have to shut down certain lines because they're 100 years old, and they don't want power going through them when the winds are picking up or anything like that. So that's a large part of why California can't supply energy. On a other side, you've got places like Texas that can't supply energy when it gets hot or too cold because they have a market which cannot sell excess energy to the rest of the country because they're on their own grid. And if they make excess energy, they don't have to do with it, and the energy prices have to just plummet. Sometimes they'll pay people to use energy because they got nowhere to send it. So like, oh, turn all the lights in your house and put it in a blender, and I'll send you money just to get this energy out of here. And so Texas, because Texas isn't part of any larger grid, they're trapped. And so they're like, oh, we can only make this much energy right now because that's how big our grid is. And then some event comes along and they didn't plan to have more natural gas or coal or whatever to pump up production to meet those demands. And all of a sudden the price goes to $16,000 a month to heat your house. Hi, monkey. So we need a comprehensive national, possibly international grid where we can connect the power plants of all of North America, at least, to each other so we can send energy all over the place. We need to make sure that power companies maintain their infrastructure and upgrade it because they don't. I mean, we've had so many fuel line explosions of natural gas lines and stuff that resulted from the fact that they don't do maintenance. Like a pipeline will get built and will sit there for 60, 70, 80 years and not a single person will ever check on that pipeline. and then it blows up and kills like 30 people in the neighborhood, and then burns for a week until they can put it out. So we need to figure out some way for these power companies don't just provide the service that they need to, but they're incentivized to provide that service and decentivized to like kill lots of people by not maintaining infrastructure and improving it. Because the only way power companies in America make money is by building new power plants. That's it. That's the only way they can make a profit. They're not allowed to make a profit any other way. So they don't do the other things they need to do. So we need a 21st century plan. I mean, a lot of that law was made in like the 19-teens and 1920s, so that we'd build power plants in places where people didn't have access to electricity in rural areas, and then we just never got rid of it. So these power companies don't want to build cheap solar and wind plants because they don't cost very much money. You don't make very much profit. You can only charge 9% profit on whatever you build. So if its wind farm is cheap, you don't get 9% of something cheap. What you want is a really complicated coal-fired plant, a really complicated nuclear power plant, something that's convoluted and have cost overruns and will just take decades to build. You want that if you're a power company, because then you can keep bilking the state for the profit reimbursement, and then that's how you make your profit. So it's a stupid system we have. It's a very stupid system. Oh, it's 6:30. I got to go to the gym. Drew Saul. Hey, bought DRV calls, and so far they are printing. With the looming market and housing collapse, it'll be a good bet. Thoughts? November calls? What is DRV doing right now? DRV. Direction Daily Real Estate Bears. This is the thing that's basically puts on the MBSs, right? So they're going to do really well. Where are we? Year to date. We had a bottom in May at $30, and we're spiking again at 60. So this is recent bottom. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing because I'm. Oh, there you go. There we go. So recent bottom was August 15th at 35, and now we're at 60 again. Looks like you're doing well with those. Good job, Drew. Yeah, our two bottoms. April 20th, and then spiked at 61. One of these times it's going to keep going, and this might be it. The Fed said they're out of mortgage-backed securities. They've been sitting on trillions of dollars of them right now. So they're going to be dumping them on the market, which means this sucker is probably going to rocket even more. Yeah, I think it's a good bet. Probably a good bet for a while. Might last through April, May. Okay. All right. I apologize to anyone's chat I didn't get to. I went to a little story ranty time on the day. I will do a Twitch stream some point this weekend. It's been a couple weeks since I've really done a Twitch stream, but I will do one. Maybe even late tonight I might do one. Otherwise, I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Throw your questions at me. Send me DMs. I'll answer them. If you want to... Oops. You guys can't see because it's very small. If you want to rent the board for the day, throw your puppy up there or advertise your company or whatever, send me a DM on Twitter, and we'll work it out and figure out what you want up there. We got another puppy up here on Monday's show. So if you want to memorialize your pooch or advertise your company or just tell a dirty joke, whatever, we'll have it here for you. All right, everybody. From the big dog. Hey, big dog. Hey, Snoopy, come here. You gotta say goodbye to everybody. Come here. Come on. You gotta say goodbye. Come on. Come up and dance. Come on. Come up and dance. Come on, Snoopy. Yeah, come on. Come on, Snoopy. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Jump up. Come on. Oh, monkey. You're here all the time. We're gonna do the big dog. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on, one more time. Oh, he just doesn't want to be a dancer. Oh, look at this big dog. Look at this big freak. You're going to go home tomorrow. You got, what? Like 17 hours until you're back home with your family? Sniff that head, monkey. Get the sniffs in while you can. There we go. All right, everybody. Bid you adieu. Have a great weekend. Treat each other well. Shaboom. Oh, look at dogs.